Hello and welcome to Ascension Evolution. My name is Joanne and I am here sharing my journey on my evolution through my ascension process. I'm just gonna do a little disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I'm not giving anyone any medical advice. I am not a healthcare professional. I am merely sharing my experience in the with the intention that the right people who need to hear it will hear this, and that it will serve in whatever way is required. So if anybody's here, anybody out there, you could pop a little hello in the chat just so I know that everything's working. I'm actually in some downtime just now. I was on a big, hey Rachel, thank you. I was away on holiday, on mission, and I'm having some integration time. Hello, Vanessa. Thank you for being here. So what I'm about to share here might get quite personal. In fact, hold on. Let me just get my tissues at the ready. Nick! Mark, hello. This might make me cry a little bit. So let me just get some tissues at the ready here. Right, so let me make sure that I'm sitting comfortably. Oh, God. As well. Right, so I was going to do this outside. I couldn't find my headphones. So for any of you guys who didn't know, hi, Amy Melissa. Ah, it's Amy. Boots in the house. oh no, hello, Niki. I'm really bad at names. I'm so sorry, but welcome. Okay, let me just take a breath into this. So what I'm about to share is very personal, and hi Billy. So I'm just going to drop into space where I'm not going to talk to the chat for a little minute. So, okay, so many of you may or may not know, 2005, I was diagnosed with bipolar. And I was diagnosed with depression at the age of 16. At the age of 16, I was placed on antidepressants. And then at the age of about, I can't remember, how old would I have been in 2005 if I'm 44 now? Somebody want to do maths? 20 something? I think I was about 24 or 25. I don't know if it was a misdiagnosis. I was very ill. And I definitely was suffering severe bouts of suicidal tendencies and these maniacal episodes of friggin' craziness. I admitted myself into a psych ward. I was in there for 2 weeks, and it was very interesting time in my life. An overload of other people's emotions. Yeah, that was certainly part of it. Mark being an intuitive empath. So I'd gone through my life. Nobody taught me about, energy or anything like that. And I had gone about life being this big, like, sea sponge, right? You know, the big sponges with the holes in them. And I'd just been taking on everybody else's emotions. I was always the one that everybody came to, right? If anybody needed help, 3 o'clock in the morning, whenever, hi, Melissa. Whenever anybody needed anybody, I would be the person. I would be the one that was there. And there was lots of reasons for that, you know. It was, I don't know if I played the victim role, but I certainly played the savior role, whereby I wouldn't look at my own victimhood through, because I was too busy trying to save everybody else to even look at myself. And I was on a lot of medication. I was on antidepressants. Now, come 2005, I was on fluoxetine. I was on diazepam. I was on olanzapine, which is a mood stabilizer. I was on sleeping tablets because I couldn't sleep. And I don't remember 2 years of my life. I was like out. I was out. And interestingly, like, during this time, I was getting friggin' wasted, like smoking things, herbs, and partying a lot, drinking a lot of alcohol while I was on all this medication. In fact, I would like take my sleeping tablets and my diazepam while I was drinking to fight the buzz, like, and I had this fake kind of persona. I didn't see it as fake at the time. I thought I was, I didn't feel safe to be me. You know, I don't know who I was. I don't know what I was doing. I didn't leave the house for 6 months. I went on a night out in Glasgow, and for somebody's 40th. Oh God, I'd forgot about that. Yeah, and there'd been a little bit of trouble in the pub, and there was like this limousine, and this guy started and somebody we were with, and me being me went out to sort it out, because that's who I was then. Anyway, limousine drove away. We ended up getting battered by these guys and didn't even have shoes or a bag or a jacket or anything, stranded in Glasgow. I was black and blue, and that was the first time I met my CPN on the Monday, and I didn't leave the house for 6 months. So I've been through it with mental. I'm not playing the smallest violin in the world here, by the way. There's a point to all this, okay? I'm building up, because I can't get to where I want to go if I don't give you a little bit of background. So when it comes to mental illness, I suffered panic attacks, deep depression, attempted suicide 3 times, been on heavily medicated, okay, for a lot of years. Until October. It's my 6-year birthday. October 2017, I had my spiritual awakening. 6 years to the month. I'm going to do a little special on my site, but let's not talk about that tonight. I just realized it today. So I had the spiritual awakening, and I didn't think I was like mad before. And then I went through the spiritual awakening, and it wasn't until I went through my awakening that I could see my mental illness. Now this is gonna sound mental. When I was mentally ill, I was very comfortable. I was very comfortable in my illness. I was safe. And I know that sounds absolutely friggin' bananas, right? But this is my truth. I was safe in the confines of my mental illness. I was safe in depression. I was safe because I'd been labelled with this mental illness. I was very good at, living that label, playing that game, being that version of me. It was very comfortable. And it was hell. It was hell. It was hell. That was my version of hell. I had to go through the hell to get to where I am today, and I wouldn't change a thing. So the thing about being labelled or diagnosed with a mental illness is it doesn't really go away. It's my coffee, Mark. Just a little one. It's just a little coffee. It doesn't go away. So if anybody's like pushing for a diagnosis, just think about it first. Because once this label has been given, it doesn't go away. And I mean, my story, I'm not alone in my story, Eric, right? And this is why I'm sharing today, because there are people who are gonna, people who maybe watch this who are suffering from a mental illness. It might bring different people here. I don't know. I've been guided to share, so I'm sharing. And I know it's like, I don't know, a long background, but there's reason behind it. So I know mental illness. I've been very comfortable in mental illness from the age of 16 right up until the age of about 38. When I went through my spiritual awakening. And I started grounding my energy, clearing my energy, and protecting my energy. And everything changed. My whole world began to change because I started empowering myself. I wasn't carrying other people's stuff. Energetically, I had this big clearing of everybody else's stuff that I was carrying, and then that gave me space to be able to look at my own. Now I can assist people with this, okay? This is one of the things I am very good at, is clearing dense energy. The sessions are on my website. I'm not using this to sell anything. It's just if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know how to do that, and you need help, like I can help with that. It's one of the reasons I'm here. I also had to go through this so that I can help other people get through this to the other side. It's just part of my job here, right? So I started clearing all this density, learning how to manage my own energy, managing how to control my own energy. And I started taking control back of my life. And I've gone from wanting to end it all to every morning I wake up and I love my life. I love every moment of my life. I love life. So I don't know if I told you about the whole medical, like driver's license thing. I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, I didn't know I was on a medical driver's license from like years ago. And I didn't know that had to be renewed, and I'd had an old address on it, and basically I'd been driving illegally for a while. Anyway, so sorted that out. But I realised, I'm so sorry, Courtney. I realised, and this is why I'm sharing this, because if my story can help save one person, then my job's done, you know. I'm sorry I couldn't help your brother. So, get yourself together. So, right, okay, so driver's license, right? So that got me thinking, like, I've healed myself of everything. I've healed myself of IBS. I've healed myself of fibromyalgia. I've healed myself of depression, of anxiety, of bipolar. Okay, I've done all this. I've done all this healing, and I don't want to have these labels anymore. And I know that I'm on a special list somewhere medically. Okay, so I made an appointment for the doctor, and this is the whole reason for this video today. So I had an appointment with the doctor this morning. Now, I've not been at a doctor for 5 years, okay? And I wanted to get this title of bipolar, of mental illness, of I want it gone. You know, I don't want these labels anymore. I don't want them to be attached to me, because they affect everything. Okay, they affect insurances. They affect like life. I can't get life insurance. I can't. It affects my driving license. It affects like driving insurance. It affects everything, right? Just having this title that doesn't belong to me anymore. That's not the person that I am anymore. But I still am a marked woman. I am a marked woman. But I still have this label, and this is why I'm saying, just please be very careful of pushing for labels, you know, particularly for children and stuff, because once it's there, it really can have an impact on their whole life, because it's so hard to get rid of. So I never met this doctor before. I'm like in this doctor surgery. I'm like not even really knowing how to be in a doctor surgery anymore. Like, it's just, I'm feeling just about, there wasn't a lot of people there, because like I could feel that person's got this heart thing. In fact, I need to clear that for her because it's still hanging about. And then this other guy's head, and then this guy came out limping, and then I'm feeling it, and I'm feeling it all, right? Because that's just, and it's really interesting, because I've never been in that situation for a long time, but it was just so much more amplified than it would normally be. Anyway, so I go through, and the doctor's like, "Oh, what can I do for you today?" And I'm like, "I need off that. I need to get rid of my labels. Like, I've healed myself." And she's like, "Right." And I was like, "I must be in some special list somewhere, so can you take me off, please?" And she says, "Well, we can't remove your past history." And I says, I get that, but I don't want to still be labeled with the label of a mental illness, because I don't have one. I've healed myself. And then I said to her, "You know, in all the times that I saw doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, CPNs, was medicated, was in a psych ward, nobody ever said to me, 'Have you tried changing your life?'" And she kind of looked at me. She says, "What did you do to change your life?" And I've been thinking about it ever since. It's a massive list. So I said to her, "Well, I ground my energy and I walk barefoot in the earth and I hug trees. I get in cold water. I do cold water therapy. I don't watch the news. I don't watch television. I got rid of my social media. I don't scroll. I changed my job. In fact, I changed all my friends. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I meditate. I spend 2 hours in the morning just on myself, setting my vibration up for the day. And she was like, wow. And I was like, yeah. I says, and I've gone from not wanting to live here to absolutely loving my life. I want rid of my labels, please. I feel like they're a punishment. So she's away to go and do some kind of, I don't know, coding or something to try and get this off the system. And we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But the message is to anyone who... Depression is the past. Now, the list I've just given you there is the tiniest. Like, let's talk about healing trauma. Let's talk about forgiveness. Let's talk about forgiveness for others, forgiveness for self. Like, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I'm a completely different person to what I was back then. And it's been work. Like, it's been hard work. And I had to step out the comfort of being ill. And that can be scary. Depression is looking back on the past. Okay? When we're not at peace with our past, that's what depression is. Good for you, Eric. Depression is when we haven't made peace with the past. Anxiety is when we're too worried about the future. And really, all that matters is right now. There's nothing we can do about the past. We can't change anything. We can't change the choices we've made. We can't change what's been done to us. We can forgive it. We can forgive ourselves and we can forgive other people. Not to let them off. Get it, Marie. Not to let them off, but to let yourself off. Like, forgive people to just set yourself free. Nikki. Hi, Angie. To set ourselves free from depression, we must find peace with the past. And to free ourselves from anxiety, we must live in the present. Hey, Lauren. And this is where I find myself. I find myself now so present. I'm so grateful for it. But I'm not comfortable here. I don't get comfortable anymore, right? I need to keep making myself uncomfortable to push forward. But if you're watching this and you have any kind of mental health diagnosis, whatever it is, maybe you just need to change your life. Maybe you just need to change your life. And a lot of people don't know where to start, you know? I am free now. And I'm sharing this because If I can do it, anybody can do it. Don't try. Don't try, Giselle. Do it, darling. Just do it. Start small. Start small. Just change one thing. Now I only do what makes me happy. I won't please anybody else. I won't do something for somebody else just to make them happy. Nobody said to me, Joanne, you're fucking miserable because you're miserable in your life. And no form of medication was ever going to change that unless I changed my life. Good morning, Candice Marie. And that can be so hard to do when you're in a place of deep depression, you know. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's worth it. Because you're worth it. Because we're worth it. So many people now, and this is an observation, cling on to mental illness, okay? My medication never helped me. Never helped change anything. What it did do is now I am not telling anybody to do anything with their medication. You cannot just stop taking medication. It is so dangerous. So what I had to do was I went to my doctor, and actually this is quite a funny story. So I thought I was going for a smear test. And so this was back in 2018. And I thought I was going for a smear test, and it was a doctor's appointment, and I didn't even remember booking the doctor's appointment, right? And I went in, and the doctor went, "What can I do for you today?" And I went, "I want to come off medication." I hadn't even thought about it. It was like the whole Courtney, I'll come back to that in a minute, darling, okay? But only if you want to hear some tough love, Courtney, because I can't pussyfoot around things when it comes to this. So what you hear might be very triggering. So, you know, I'll go into it, but only if you know that I'm coming from a heart space. I can be quite triggering when it comes to these things. So, anyway, remind me, Courtney, please. Let me come back to that, darling. So, anyway, I thought I was going for a smear test. So I said, "I want to come off my medication, please." And I didn't even know why it came out my mouth, right? I'm like, "Oh." And she went, "Okay, let's talk about it." And she went, "Why?" I says, "Well, I've had a spiritual awakening." I ended up telling this doctor that I could talk to spirit, and that spirit had been coming through, and all about energy and how I want to change my life. And inside my head is going, "Joanne, you're going to get locked up. Like, you're bipolar, and you're now telling them like about the spiritual awakening. Like, you're going to get locked up." And this doctor went, "Okay, we'll do it together, and we'll do it slowly." And I was like, "Okay." And I had to go and see that doctor every week while I was coming down off this medication. And I think it took 3 months. And I did exactly as she advised. Okay. I didn't stop. It's too dangerous to stop taking this stuff. Okay. And there were withdrawal symptoms, and I would get like these, like, it was like the neurons in my brain. Do you have neurons in your brain? I don't know. It was like the little pathways in my brain were like starting to function again. There was like synapses like starting to, is that a thing? How I seen it was like there was these two bits, like two little bits, and there was like these energy bits starting to like rewire my brain again. That's what it looked like. Like it put it to sleep. And as I came off this medication, it was like rewiring my brain, and I would have these like, it would almost be like electric shocks, but I could be in the middle of having a like conversation. Now, Lauren, thank you. I could be in the middle of having a and I would just, because it was like all this, it was mental. It was just mental, the stuff that was going in my body and the purging, and it wasn't easy, okay? But it was very, but there are ways to come off. And actually what I found out is your doctor can't actually deny this. You can't go to your doctor and say, I want to come off my medication. They say no. They can advise against it, but they actually have to support it. Anyway, so that was me. And then after I was off that 3 months, I'd never been to the doctor since, you know? Brain zaps. But it's because I took steps to change my life. My day used to look like my alarm would go off and I would be in just pure physical pain everywhere. And I wouldn't want to get up. I would be like, oh no, oh, I'm in agony. And oh, I'd be telling myself like, I'm in agony. What did I think I was going to be? Or, oh, I'm depressed. Or I was telling myself all these stories. I was in complete victimhood to my illness. And I was feeding it. I was feeding my illness by the thoughts, the words, and the actions I had about it. So I'd be like, oh, it would take me like an hour maybe to get out of bed, and then I would slowly get downstairs and sit about and drink a coffee. And I'm trying to think what my days were like then, because it was so long ago. I would go to work. I would come home. I'd watch the telly. I wouldn't go to bed till like, don't know, all hours in the morning, maybe couldn't sleep. And then I would just rinse and repeat that over and over and over and over again. That was my life. But now I get up with the sun, or actually before the sun. It's pitch black actually when I'm outside now. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm outside, my feet are on the actual frozen ground it was this morning. Pitch black. I'm out there with a torch. A big light, actually, like a big flashlight thing. I'm in the cold tub, then I'm in the hot tub. This morning I was up looking at the stars at 5:30 this morning in the hot tub. Then I get in the cold, and then the hot, and the cold, and then the hot, and then I go and I have like a 15-minute cold shower, and then I get ready for my day, and then I do whatever I want, actually. I do what I love. I'm so passionate about the work that I do. I work with beautiful people. I get to come on and make videos for you guys and chat to you guys. Like, I live my best life. Every moment of my life, I am just like in joy. I'm absolutely in joy. I spend time with my family, my friends, try not to have too much interaction on social media. I don't have the telly. I don't do news. I don't do anything like that. I go to my bed at a decent time. Hi, homeless. I go to my bed at a decent time. And I love my life. But it's a massive difference to the way I used to live my life. So let's go on to your question, Courtney. Let me just scroll back a little bit. How do I change my life when I have a poorly daughter? It's so hard to change something that can't be changed. Okay. 2:18 in the morning. Are you actually homeless in America? Homeless in America? Right, hold on. Let me speak to Courtney first. How do I change my life when I have a poorly daughter? It's so hard to change something that can't be changed. One of the biggest things I ever learned, Courtney, was that I can't do anything about anybody else's choices or what's happening with them. Now, it's your daughter, you know, I've got a child and I get that, right? But what I believe is everybody comes here with a plan of what they choose to experience here. And that includes suffering. I had to suffer to get to where I am, to have this conversation with you. I chose that. And there was not one person in my life that could have ever changed that, because that was my choice. And I wouldn't want it changed. And it was nobody else's business. It was mine. It was mine to suffer. It was mine to experience. What do you do in your life, Courtney, that brings you joy? Do you look after your energy? Do you cleanse, ground, and protect yourself every day? Let me just ask you some of these questions, just to start with. You still here, Courtney? I'm not Russian. You have 4 beautiful little girls that keep you going every day. Do I have any mods in here? What do you do for you? What do you do for you, Courtney? What do you do for you? No, it's okay. You don't have to be sorry. I obviously don't have the subscription filter on, but that's okay. I get that you're saying that your daughter's had 83 operations, okay? You don't get to do anything for you. Why are you not a mod, Spiritual Sunshine? Then I'm going to say you have to make the time. You're watching me right now. What you're watching me right now. You've been watching me for 40 minutes. How much time do you spend scrolling on your phone? I said I was going to be real with you, Courtney. You're telling me that you cannot have 30 minutes to yourself in a day. That you can't take that time off of social media. Be honest with yourself, because you're only lying to you. You're not lying to me. There's this belief that we have to put everybody else before ourselves, because if we put ourselves before, but you can do things for yourself while your children are about, no? that there's this belief that if we do something for ourselves, then it's selfish. Courtney, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so that I can have 2 hours to myself before my son gets up, when I see to my son. I have a business to run. I have a household to look after. I have a child. I have all the things. But I have to maintain myself first. I have to come first. So I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do everything that I need to do for 7 o'clock. And I do this while my child is here and sleeping. Why do you want to know, Europe? We make a lot of excuses for ourselves. I can't do this because I have to do this. I can't do this because I have to do this. I can't do this because I have to do this. Now we're getting to Courtney. So you're scared to have time by yourself. Maybe go there. Why? Listen, we don't have to have this conversation here, okay? But what I'm saying to you, Courtney, is there's always time. And if you're saying that you don't have, right, well, because of the thoughts. Okay, so they're negative thoughts. So what do you do with negative thoughts then? You catch the negative thought and you turn it into something positive. If it's not too invasive, can you give me an example of one of them thoughts so that I can help you with that, Courtney? And listen, Courtney, I get this because like I was saying at the beginning of this, I used to help everybody else and I had this massive circle of friends, right? Because it was always easier for me to go and use a distraction of looking at everything else so I didn't have to look at myself. So I get it. But I was making excuses, Courtney. Gisela, this was my mistake. I've learned after 51 years that I'm deserving too. I get up earlier to have personal time. We are all deserving. Make ourselves a priority. We can't give if our well's empty. Absolutely. Transmute the energy within the thoughts. Beautiful advice, Eric. Try and block them out. No, we don't block them. Okay. Okay, so that thought is coming from a version of you that is trying to keep you down. So when we have a negative thought, it's a programming, okay? And it can get very loud. We're programmable beings. So we can get a thought and we can change it. So if you can find yourself an affirmation, something like, I am worthy of living in joy. I am safe to live a joyful life. Just something very, very simple, Courtney, okay? And every time one of these thoughts come in, you repeat the affirmation. I can't remember what I said. But, you know, I'm safe to live in my joy. I am worthy of a joyful life. And even if you don't believe it, you fake it till you make it, girl, okay? So you just keep repeating that over and over and over and over and over again, over and over and over again. Whenever these thoughts come in, don't block it. Just go, okay, great. You're a thought, and I'm not owning you. That doesn't belong to me. That is something outside of myself. I am worthy of joy. Have you tried affirmations, Courtney? Have you tried? Because you're aware of the thought, and that's great. So many people aren't aware of their thoughts. Start there, darling. Start being aware of your thoughts and catching it and turning it into something else. Okay? However, you have to also find something in your life that's bringing you joy. Because you also have to take an action. There's no good in just repeating, oh, I am joyful, and not feeling any joy in your life. You need to remember what it's like to be joyful. Go and get your kids and go and swing the swing with them. Jump in puddles. You know, be that younger version of the child. Go and, you know, if you can, do something fun together, or go and get, you know, if you can't leave the house because of your daughter or whatever, go and get some pens and paint with your children, or drop into something that isn't responsibility. Get them all together and do a painting, or make a song together, or get the music on and all dance together. Find these small moments of joy. Remember what it was like to be joyful. Bring back your inner child. Yeah, that's a really good. And what beautiful opportunity. You've got 4 children. What a beautiful opportunity to drop into that inner child with them and find your joy there. Only you can change your life, Courtney. Only you can get a hold of these thoughts in your head. Only you can do it. Nobody else can do it, darling. Only you can. And I believe in you. And you've absolutely got this. And you've listened to this conversation, and you're a multidimensional being. You ask your multidimensionality for help here, for assistance here. Find your joy, darling. Find your joy. Find an affirmation that works with you, and work with it for 21 days, sweetheart, okay? In fact, Courtney, I will absolutely give you access to my 21-day awakening workshop for free if you promise to do it. I have a 21-day awakening workshop that changed my everything that I put in place during my awakening process, that changed my life. I put in that 21-day awakening workshop. And if you send an email to joanne@ascensionevolution.com, I'll set you up a code and you can download it from my website for free. But you have to promise to do it. You have to promise to yourself. And it's going to be half an hour a day. You have to give yourself half an hour a day. I feel resistance, and I don't know if you're ready, okay? But I'm just letting you know. When you're ready, you hit up my email and I'll send you a code for that. You are responsible for your life, Courtney. You are. Okay? That workshop has changed so many people's lives because they took responsibility for their life. But it will only help if you're committed to yourself. And trust me, darling, that if your children can see you changing your life, that's also going to assist them along the way as well. But listen, you do you, okay? You do you. You know what's right for you. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm just offering a handout of support. So, thank you all for being here this beautiful day and listening to my ramblings. I'm so grateful for you all. This platform is being very restrictive, shall we say, and I'm being hidden, and I do my shadow work. I don't deserve to live in the shadows, you know. So it might get to the stage where I Hello, Aaron and Danby's World. I have to put some kind of advert on here to be able to be seen, because the numbers, there's funny things happening with numbers and all sorts of things. And I've been at the stage where I've just trusted that people that need to hear the message will get the message. However, you can help me by putting comments down in the comment section, by subscribing, by hitting the notification bell, by hitting the like button, and by sharing. If you feel there's somebody else that can help with this information, it isn't to stroke my ego, okay? I'm not looking at the amount of people that are watching this video. To me, I'm just sharing it, but I know that it can help people. So if that resonates with you, you do what feels right for you, okay? I'm going to come in a little bit later, maybe tomorrow or some point, something, because this is my 6-year awakening birthday this month in October, and I'm going to do a discount code for the website, but I'll need to get everything up on the website sorted before I do that. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for being here. I love you all, and together we change the world. We are the change that we want to see in the world. I still got paint in my hair. I've been painting. We're the change. I have to be the change that I want to see in the world. So this is why I'm sharing here in this space. Thank you for listening. I love you. Have a beautiful day of heaven and earth. And I'll see you next time I see you guys. Okay. Love you. Bye.